My name's Jenelle Riley. I'm an editor at Variety, and welcome to this 9-2Y Talk with the Chair, everyone's new Netflix obsession set in the world of academia. At this time, I'm so pleased to welcome today's guests. Please welcome creator and executive producer Amanda Peet, actor and executive producer Sandra Oh, actor and consultant Duplass, and actors Holland Taylor, Bob Balaban, and Mensah. Before we get started, let's take a look at the trailer.
We're concerned about what's going on in the department.
This is already all over social media. This department's hanging on by a thread. Bill's incident is spinning out of control.
Oh, there she is.
Our first lady chair.
Woman, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. We're in dire crisis.
I wouldn't be surprised if the president asked for Bill's resignation.
Can he stay for dinner?
No.
No wonder nobody wanted to marry you.
Are you two involved?
My defending Professor Dobson has nothing to do with my feelings for him, which are entirely platonic and professional.
Everybody knows she's in love with him. You wearing makeup?
What? No.
It's pretty. Don't you ever think about it?
When I see something, I wish I had shut up.
Professor Dobson? I just like him. He's smart and hot.
Don't take your jacket off.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm just going to say it. Get your shit together.
I like when you act like you're my boss.
I am your boss.
This has become a serious reputational matter.
Oh, God. Sorry, I thought you were naked. You should be running this place. Instead, you're running around playing nice. I feel like someone handed me a ticking time bomb because they wanted to make sure a woman was holding him when it explodes.
Nobody wants to come out and support you when you're a scandalous figure.
Your boy's toast.
Tell me what to do.
You're going to apologize.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, not to me, dumbass. I am the chair of the department, and let's fucking shake this place up.
Thank you all so much for being here. Congratulations on a fantastic series. Whenever I have people as accomplished as you all are, I actually like to go back to the beginning and ask, what was your first job in this business? And you all do many things, so I'd love to know what was your first job as an actor? And that counts for Amanda too, because obviously you're a very busy actor as well. What was the first job where you felt you would sort of made it, or you could call yourself an actor? And let's start with Bob.
My very first job, I was in college in New York, and I got into an off-Broadway play called You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. The reason I got in was, I guess I could sort of sing and sort of act, but they only took people who were under 5'6".
Can I guess who you played?
Yes.
Were you Linus?
Yes.
No way! I didn't see that. I love that. It's my favorite character.
Smarty pants.
Yeah, being the youngest child, he's always been my favorite. So.
And I got to be really good friends with the woman who played Lucy, Reva Rose, and she was wonderful, but she really was as bossy as Lucy, and it was kind of confusing.
I love that. Holland, what about for you?
My first job in New York was actually in a Broadway play. It was just a piece of bizarre luck, as so much in show business often is. They had open calls. I don't know if they still have to. The union demanded that you have an open call for people to audition for a Broadway show. And this had a lot of women in it. It was called The Devils. And it starred Jason Robards and Anne Bancroft. And Anne Bancroft was the sine qua non of actresses. And I just went to this open call because there were a lot of nun parts, like 20 nun parts. And by God, I got in it. And so that was my Broadway debut, was my first job in New York, which was pretty lucky. And I was unbelievably naive and green about absolutely everything. When they called to tell me I had that job, she said, and your salary will be $125 a week. And I said, you're going to pay me $125 a week to be in a play with Anne Bancroft and Jason Robards, and $125 was what a radio cost that I've been hankering desperately for, a radio. And I bought this Philips Norelco radio for $125.
This is amazing. These are like huge first jobs. I thought you guys were going to say like a Crest commercial or something.
Well, long ago in those days, there were many fewer actors. There were more jobs to be had. I mean, I don't know how anybody starts today.
Wow. Amanda, what about for you?
Well, then when you said the commercial thing, that changed my answer, because I was going to say Law and Order,
Of course.
I got Law and Order was when I felt like I had arrived on the scene. Like I could hang my hat and I could walk around the city without and feel like I was a real actor. So I would say it was my Law and Order episode. That was the beginning because I had auditioned for Law and Order probably about 100 times and never gotten it. And so when I got it, it was just a sense of like belonging and the feeling of what it satisfied in me or took away, the feeling of being an imposter was really special. So I usually count that as like the moment that was like the line in the sand.
Law and Order is a big rite of passage for a lot of actors. I know that for a fact. Jay, for you?
My first acting job was 9 years ago when my brother and I invited Mindy Kaling to lunch because we were trying to get her to be in a movie that we were making. And she said, I can't do it because I'm about to make this television show. I'm about, called The Mindy Project. And, it's very revealing of Mindy's character that within 3 months, she had cast Mark and me as her nemesis in her TV show where we played, we basically played like midwives who were poaching her OBGYN clients. And I don't know how much dialogue, I was in a lot of episodes and I think I had maybe like 12 lines of dialogue. I was basically a Muppet in that show. And I just thought it was fun. It was just like, this will be a cool experience because I didn't consider myself an actor and I wasn't trying to be an actor. And I realized that all actors are going to hate me for saying that. But
yep,
that was my first job. And then my second job was Transparent. So I've weirdly, accidentally become an actor in the last 8 or 9 years.
He doesn't count, Jenelle. There's just not enough suffering.
Not of other suffering, trust me.
Yeah, I want Jay at like a cattle call, like for an off Broadway show, like at the Equity Center on 46th Street. Then we can talk.
Totally.
My first job, I would have loved a Crest commercial. I would have loved any commercial. That did not happen. But I would have loved a Law and Order, actually, Amanda. Wow, because I couldn't even get the Law and Order audition job. So anyway, my first job was I was a sprite in a production of The Tempest at Classic Stage, starring Mandy Patinkin, Inigo Montoya himself, and similar to Holland, I was shocked that they were willing to pay me. I was like, I get to sit around and like watch Mandy Patinkin like rehearse and do Shakespeare, and I had like no lines. I had like one line, and but I was like, great, I'm an actor. I got my equity card. I got like whatever. That was the thing.
Do you still remember the one line?
No, that's so sad. I don't remember it.
Well, look how far you've all come now. You're all on the chair, which is such a fantastic series. I want to start at the beginning with Amanda. What was the initial idea for the show? How did you go about imagining a series set in the world of academia?
Well, the first thing I thought about was the first instinct I had was that I wanted to work with Jay. Because he was my boss on Togetherness and we had a really good working experience, and I felt really comfortable with him. And I also then, when I watched him on Transparent, thought he was a very, very special, sublime actor. And so I had this instinct about a widower whose daughter goes to college, and then he starts trying to date and put one foot in front of the other. And then at the same time, I was thinking about how interesting it would be if you were a supervisor who was in a newly appointed promotion, and if you were very close with a man and in fact had some romantic feelings towards that man. Those two ideas kind of got mushed together, and I started thinking about Sandra. I started thinking about women in leadership and women of color who are the first people to take a certain position, supervising role. And then when I started reaching out to professors and interviewing professors, it seemed like all they wanted to talk about is how you're stuck in these close quarters and it's a soap opera. So it all seemed like a fairly decent idea for a workplace comedy.
And Jay, when someone says they've basically, sort of written a role for you or a project with you in mind, you can't really say no, can you?
No, you can't. Even when you are deputized to shoot this show at peak COVID in the middle of the hardest winter that Pittsburgh has seen in a decade. And the vibe is going to be post-apocalyptic medical. That's the technical vibe on set. You can't say no. And even Amanda and I even had a conversation a couple of months out where I called her and I was like, is this really happening? Like because this was at a time where we were all dormant for so long and so many of our friends had tried to shoot things and people got sick, people came home, they got shut down. And Amanda was just fearless and relentless. So basically she said, jump, and I said, how high?
At the same time, Bill is a fantastic role. I have to imagine that you were excited.
Oh yeah, it's so much better than I even dreamed it could be. And people keep asking me like, how hard it was. He's such a complicated character. Hi, Sandra. How hard was it to like get into that character? And the answer was, it was super easy. It was the easiest character I've ever slipped into because it was so brilliantly written. And I think also because, like Amanda said, we had worked together before and we just really understand each other. And we were having lots and lots of conversations about what's going on in the world and how we feel about it and how we want to contribute to that. And so it all just emanated from like continuous conversations. It all just made sense. But there was that moment when I read like the first drafts of scripts that she gave me and I read them. I was like, oh, this is much bigger than just something that we're going to do. It had a feeling about it that it was going to be really special.
Sandra, what about for you? I'm curious how the script found its way to you and what interested you in being part of this project.
I'm looking at the Zoom. Oh my God. I just want to take everything off the rails right now. Sorry. I finished my day of work. That's why. The script came to me via Sarah Paulson, and but Amanda and I had actually worked together. Like I don't even know, like a million years ago on some tiny little project that I don't even remember what it was. And then it's honestly to echo Jay, it was just like, oh, it's when it goes from an idea to let's make something to then the pilot, and then you get the other 6 scripts, and then you get the cast, you know what I mean? It's it just kept on getting what's the word? It kept on making me feel good. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like even when stuff was crazy, I could feel stuff going on. Oh my God, Nana, do you remember your first day? It was like the second day of shooting. I had only met Nana like on a Zoom, right? We have this long time relationship. And I just remember like, she's like this, and then there's like and like a thingamabobby, right? And everything was swirling around, and Amanda came in. It was just like, okay, how do we do this in like 5 seconds? And I remember
I had no filter. I was like, we have to shoot this I've just been told we have to shoot this in 5 minutes.
It's like 5 minutes. And then it's like, oh, and then it's like, you know, I just remember looking at Nana so deeply and just going, okay, it's just you and me. So when every single layer kind of added on to the project, I felt better and better about it. Not better, like it's like, oh, it's going to be, but like deeper and deeper into it.
I would love to know for the rest of you, what sort of interested you in the roles and the project overall? And let's start with Holland. Holland, did it also come to you through Sarah Paulson?
Well, I guess in a way, I think someone else was going to play this role, and because of COVID issues, had to withdraw. And I think fairly close to production time. And I really don't know Amanda's thinking, but I guess I came to mind either through Sarah or on her own. Amanda and I know each other. And I've known Amanda's writing for years. I've seen several of her plays. I've read 2 of them closely. And I think she is a really great and unique one-off kind of writer. And the thing I like about her writing is very much, many things I like about it, but one thing is very much in evidence in The Chair, which is a kind of overheard quality. It's not, it doesn't feel written. It's in the sense of being literary. Of course, it's very written, but it's accidental and messy. And where did that come from? And quirky and it has the taste of reality. It could be overheard in an airway terminal. What was that conversation? It's kind of remarkable in that way. And I didn't feel anything was written to be writerly. And I just think her writing is unique and special. So I was asked to do it. Maybe they were I actually don't know the reality if they were in a jam. I just needed to get somebody right away, but I was at hand.
We're in a jam. Calm down.
What?
We weren't in any kind of jam.
Anyway, okay.
Bob, what about for you? What interested you in the role of Elliot?
Everything. I was on more than 5 pages. That was one thing. And
Size role.
I loved all the people attached to it. The actors, Amanda, Daniel. It just seemed like a great thing. And the idea was magical to me because this is something that is going on just hugely across the country. And it has been a number of years. My daughter went to graduate school at the University of Chicago, and it's the story of this series, basically. So it's been going on forever and ever. Nobody ever codified it in something entertaining enough to allow people to watch it. I mean, I think it's a miracle.
Nana, you're also an actor, writer, director, producer. You do so many things. I mentioned your film, Queen of Glory. You also play a college professor in that. What interested you in this world, and specifically in this character who, is sort of trying to be pushed to the side by Bob's character?
Yeah, I think I have a lot of friends in academia, and so kind of seeing, kind of having a front row seat to their trials and tribulations, some of whom did not, finish their PhDs because of all the politics and the messiness. And so when I read the pilot, I was like, oh, and then as each episode came in and I kept, seeing what happened to Yaz over the course of the first season, it just was so real and like weirdly prescient. Like obviously, conversations about critical race theory and, the saga of what's going on or what happened with Nicole Hannah-Jones and her tenure bid at UNC, like Chapel Hill. So there were just so many things that actually ended up kind of unfurling in the public arena. And so it was like, just slightly ahead of its time, which was really exciting. And it was a no-brainer. I like absolutely had to be a part of it.
And Holland and Bob, you've both had amazing, like just mind-blowingly fantastic careers, and you're still doing some of the best work of your careers at this point. How did it sort of feel to be playing characters who are, they're being made to feel that they're not as relevant as they once were?
Well, I think that's partly our culture. Wouldn't you agree, Bob? I mean, it's the American culture.
Yes, the only good thing about getting to become an older actor is a lot of your competition dies.
Well, not soon enough.
Oh my gosh.
I have an observation about playing Joan. I played another professor very famously, Stromwell in Legally Blonde, who was a law professor. She stands on that great foundation and on top of the world, looking down at society from that pinnacle. Joan, on the other hand, is in a wormhole into the medieval times. She's in a wormhole that goes through 4 or 5 different languages and history. And it's, she's long since burrowed in and does not see the world. It has no overview and is not interested in overview. Is interested in going into those wormholes. She's that kind of scholar. So like, she's not, I don't think, aware of a lot of social things that are happening. She's not not interested in them. She has, very, very, very specific laser interests and passions. She is passionate about it. But like, for instance, when the dean mispronounces Nana's character's name, it's like she's outraged as somebody who has been displaced and pushed to the side and not acknowledged and not respected, and she flies into almost a like, God damn it, her name is, she wants to make that right, and she's outraged from a very personal point of view as well as a sisterly one. And so it's very, very specific to her life and her passion. She doesn't have a worldview, I don't think.
I'm not sure I've ever related to a character more than when Joan tries to track down the person who gave her a bad review. I think anyone on social media probably can relate to that. Amanda, was that sort of wish fulfillment on your part, or just an idea for a fun scene?
In a word, yes. A lot of the professors I spoke to talked about ratemyprofessors.com and talked about their student evals and their feelings around it, and it was obviously incredibly powerful to me. And I just was like so attracted to it, and from the very beginning that was going to be a part of the story, is that this woman who should have been venerated at this point and should not have to be jumping through hoops at this point has to go back and address this part of her the sort of non-scholarship part of her career.
Mm-hmm. The show has all these fascinating relationships, and you all work so well together. Jay and Sandra, your characters have so much chemistry, and you really feel this relationship that they've known each other for years. I don't know, how well did you know each other when you started shooting, and did that chemistry sort of develop naturally?
Well, we did not know each other at all before. We did hang out at my house, I think, once before we went to Pittsburgh. I made Amanda and Sandra huevos rancheros. That's about all we did. But we, similar to how Sandra was describing with Nana, I think we shot on the second day, and it was super intense, and everyone had masks and face coverings, and in our case it was peak COVID. There was like literal scrubs for some people, and at a certain point we had to take our masks off, and it really felt like getting naked. And although everyone else, it felt like an operating room, we were the only human beings in the room, actually, and it weirdly focused us, I think, on each other. I think there was just so much energy in this project beyond, obviously the writing is incredible and the people are incredible, but I think we were all dormant for like a year or two. So just being unleashed at a certain point, even with tight timeframes, which we did have, it just like, we just jumped immediately to the level that we all knew that we had to be at. But yeah, our first scenes together were very significant scenes in the show. How did you feel, Sandra?
Do you remember when I was like chasing you around and I was like, I'm gonna get you?
Yes. Yes.
So the first scene actually that you see June and Bill, like he has these keys and June wants to get the keys. And we're running around, and we both had a lot of energy that day. We both had a lot. And I just remember leaning over, looking you in the eye, just going, I'm going to get you.
Yeah, we did a chase scene that day.
Yeah. Where then we end up having to kind of like, we end up just kind of almost humping each other. I agree with everything that Jay said. And Jay and I think are very aligned people. I feel like our energies are similar. Also in the way that I felt a great partnership with him to take on a certain type of stewardship with the show. Do you know what I mean? It's very, very odd set of circumstances to be able to be creating intimacy and commonality and connection. So I just really felt very quickly a partnership with Jay, that he likes to work and be connected to crew and to everyone, and that we probably do it a similar way. But you need to do that. I got to tell you, it's very, very important. I feel like the people who are on top and taking leadership roles, you must give space. You must make it easier. You must make it more pleasant. This is not denying what we need for the entire company, because it's just too hard.
You know, there's this old saying that I actually don't put much stock in about never working with animals or children. But the young actress who plays your daughter in the show, plays Juju, she is phenomenal. And I know—
a beast. She's a beast. She's a beast.
I know, you know, casting any actors is tricky, but casting young actors can be a tricky process. This may sound strange, but was there ever a chemistry read with you, or, you know, did you just show up on set and, you know, you're told this person is your daughter?
Well, Amanda, when you were looking at Everly, I know I just wanted to meet her. And again, it's really tricky. You know, I met Everly and her dad, Paul, on a Zoom, and I just also really wanted the parents to get to know me. You know what I mean? And it's like you get a certain type of feeling, but I mean, Everly puts us all to shame. Like, that kid is a beast. And what I mean by that is that I've just never, it's like, it's hard to find adults who have an understanding of filmmaking. And that kid is 7 now, but when she was 6, she just completely, please, anyone who's had a 6-year-old or who has a 6-year-old, it's just like, they don't even know where their thumb is or their face, you know what I mean? So, and that's fine because you're 6, but I think she just really came to the right set, honestly.
I wanted to say about that child that in my life, I have never seen a child actor of that talent and that gift. But also, I think the writing for that child, best writing for a child I've ever encountered. That child was real. That was a real extraordinary little person, but she was written. And it was really an astonishing piece of work, Amanda, writing for that child. Of course, so you got plenty to work with, but boy, did you work with it.
Amanda, can you sort of tell us how you found her in the process of casting her?
Jay is friends with Miguel Arteta, and we were talking to him at a certain point before we found Dan Longino, and when he read the scripts, he recommended her. So we did do a big casting call and had a lot of people read, and Sandra and I talked a lot about our openness in terms of race and ethnicity. We really wanted to keep it wide open and rewrite based on who we cast. And she just, the second I saw her, I was like, Miguel Arteta is right. And she's a little firebrand, but she's so deep and loving and just incredibly smart. And yeah, she was a slam dunk right away. So
I was thinking about how, you know, this world of academia is so perfect for, you know, high stakes drama, but also comedy. And I would just love to know, actually, let me ask Nana, because like I said, this is your second project set in this world. What makes this world so perfect for, you know, drama and this really, you know, sharp comedy?
Oh God, I mean, I think it's a weird ecosystem, right? Because of the concept of tenure, you end up having people who can stay, and the stakes for them are quite low because they can never be fired, right? And so then so just like imagine all the eccentricities, your own personal eccentricities that would just bubble up if there were no stake, like if you would never, you know, if you couldn't lose a job. It's just like, well, then just let your freak flag fly. So you have this like this little world of these highly intelligent people who just don't have to answer really to anyone. And so, of course, you know, comedy ensues. So that's my take on it. I don't know, maybe Amanda feels differently.
Amanda?
I think that's exactly right. And for whatever reason, a lot of the professors I ended up interviewing were from smaller East Coast schools. And I think being in close quarters for years on end, you end up really just basically having a family dynamic there. And so to me, it just seemed like an opportunity to create a dysfunctional family and then put them all together in the winter in small, dark rooms and say, go sort it out, go sort it out amongst yourselves. And
also the fact that academia is essentially the far edge of Western civilization. I mean, you know, our show is about a community that is a proxy for Western civilization as we know it, which we are trying to reform without fully destroying it, because as critical as we all would be of our culture right now, the culture has great things in it, you know, acceptance of gay people and feminism emanated from this culture, you know, so it is an incredible microcosm. And then you also have the smartest people in all the land acting like they're on Temptation Island, which is fucking hilarious. You know, like their intelligence, their hyper intelligence does not exempt them from the mania that we all feel, you know. In fact, their world is as, you know, as cutthroat as any. So I think it's fun to watch super smart people get real desperate.
I am dying to see Elliot go on Temptation Island, please.
Yeah. Watch the chair. You will experience that.
There's something we haven't talked too much about, which is Amanda's basic decision to not make decisions about who is right and who is wrong. I think a huge amount of the humor comes from this ambiguity that everybody thinks, of course, that they're doing the right thing, and who is. I think it's such a relief that the script never tells you who's wrong and who's right.
Great.
And finally, I'm sorry, but everyone is asking, I have to ask, I know this is a limited series, who's open for a season 2?
I'm available.
This is a binding commitment right here. I would love to see where the
go negotiate with Netflix right now.
It would be
really
nice.
We deputize you, Jenelle.
It would be really nice to go back to Pittsburgh and go out for drinks.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it would be nice to actually see our crew.
Yeah.
And actually see each other. There was one time during our time in Pittsburgh where the cast went out on a walk. We went on this the walk, and it's like, really, for me, it would be to have a dinner, you know what I mean? Actually sit with people. It would be just so great. But we did have this one walk where we all had our masks and we're all separated, and it was great. It was great. But I would want to go back and just have a beautiful dinner and then see our crew.
This is how messed up it was, and I might be outing us in a way, but on the last day of shooting, Sandra and I went around to all the crew people that we hadn't seen their faces, and we took them outside and we made them take their masks off.
Wow.
It felt like some weird, like, actor hazing or something, but like, honestly, like, we didn't know what half the people's faces looked like, and we had worked so intimately with them. And so, like, Sandra and I were just like, I need to see his face. I need to see his fucking face. And so they would take, and then one of us would take a photo, and then we would share the photo with each other.
So how often were you surprised? Or how much did people?
Almost always surprised. There's two faces. There's the eyes, and then there's the whole face.
So true. It's so true. Well, Amanda, I think we have a consensus. So please start writing now if you haven't already, because I need this sooner rather than later. Again, I want to thank you all so much for being here and congratulations on such a fantastic show. Everyone I know is already obsessed with it. So we are anxiously awaiting the next entry in these people's lives. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Janelle.
Thanks.
Oh, it's so nice to see everybody. Hi.